For today's presentation, I picked two verses from chapter 2, Samkhya Yoga, from the Gita, which is a very long chapter. And the two verses are 62 and 63. The topic is really about anger and its consequences. So these two verses go together. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smruti vibhramaha smruti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. When a man dwells on objects, sense objects, an attachment for them is born. From this attachment, desire is born. From this desire, anger is born. That's the first verse. The second verse, from anger comes delusion, confusion. From delusion, loss of memory. And from loss of memory, destruction of the intellect, buddhi. This spells the ruin of man. These two verses describe a cascade of events, a ladder of fall, a downward spiral, which is the path of self-destruction. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. The whole process usually starts with a thought. It's like a seed. When you think about a banyan tree, even the biggest banyan tree has a small seed. When it's planted, nourished, and given care, attention, time, it grows and it becomes monstrous. So that's what happens. Thoughts are like seeds. And they are usually stimulated through a sense object, because the sensory organs we have bring various stimuli into us by seeing, by hearing, by feeling, by smelling. All these stimuli come into us. And when they come, they can be from objects or they could be about people. And they create thought in us. And all day this goes on. And when the thoughts come, most of the time they abate. We see something, notice it, then go on to the next one. But for whatever reason, some of these stimuli stay with us. They leave an impression in us. It's like a memory. And then what happens, even though the stimulus is no longer directly there, we still have the memory which invokes, which lingers and gives us these thoughts. And when we keep dwelling on these, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, it's like meditating on things that is not like soul, Krishna was talking about. And when we meditate, we concentrate on them, we think about them. And we think about them longingly. Sangasteshu upajayate. From this, attachment comes up, is born. It would be like, say, a young man sees a pretty girl. He might have seen several pretty girls before, but for whatever reason, he is infatuated with this young lady. He thinks about her all the time. How she looks, how she talks, how she dresses, like that. He can no longer concentrate on his life, other aspects of life like his job, his education. He is beginning to develop attachment. How do we know? Because he's happy when he's in her presence. He's not if she's not there. What he does to compensate is to think about her. Thinking gives pleasure. Okay? That's a substitution. So his mind gets into this automatic thinking where it's going to that thought to give him pleasure. And when this stage continues, the attachment keeps increasing. We already start losing some control, and it leads to sangat sanjayate kamaha. When we have this attachment, we continue to invest in this automatic thinking, and the thoughts get more and more deep rooted. Just like the banyan tree I was talking about, it's growing and it's getting more roots, getting more solidified. And this is the concept that the advertisement people use it, like in TV advertisements, newspaper advertisements, junk mail we get. They know this repeated stimuli, leave an impression and let us think about it. And then we get attached to that, and then we develop a desire and do impulse buys. We see this in our lives. Phones would be, tech gadgets would be a good example. We all had landlines. We did fine until the cell phone came. We did fine with the flip phones. Then came smartphones. We had to have the smartphones. So it goes on and on like that. But sometimes it may not be an advertisement. It could be just an incidental thing that can happen in our lives. Say my friend bought a place in Florida, a beach house. She invites me, come see my place, it's nice, come visit me. I go there, stay a couple of days with her. Very nice place, very modern, with all the modern facilities. I fall in love with it, I enjoy my stay, come home, but the place doesn't leave my head. It comes back again and again into my head. And I start thinking about it, enjoying the thought of it, enjoying the thought of being in it. And after a while, that no longer would be enough. It gets so deep that I want it. I want to own it. I want to experience being in that place myself. Whether I need it or not, whether I can afford it or not. And the more I think about it, the more I want it. And it may be that I already have a nice place, you see, but it's not enough. I want more. And that's called lobha, greed. Okay. In addition to lobha, I may also feel jealousy, matsara. I'm not only not happy that I don't have it, I'm not happy because she has it. Okay, matsara. Typically, when do we have matsara? We don't compare ourselves to the most poor people on the street or in the ghettos, or we don't compare ourselves to the very wealthy people like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. We compare ourselves to people in our circles, right? Do you think about that? We compare ourselves to our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends, other family members. And we compare and see, what do we compare about? About the people in our lives. We compare about the possessions we have. We compare about the money we make, those kinds of things. So we feel jealous like somebody else has more than what we have. or their children are doing better than we are. Sometimes we are also comparing because we want to feel better. I want to be better than you are. That is from aham, that is from pride. I want to be better than you are. My daughter looks better than your daughter. I drive a better car than you do. So we go through these emotional gyrations, and the desires can be coming from lobha, greed, or it could be coming from matsara, jealousy, or it could be coming from pride, ego. I want to be better than my neighbor, for example. Doesn't matter how it started, if we get into this stage of desire, we have to have it. Otherwise, we are not, pleased. So that is what happens. Kamat krodho vijayate. From this desire, when our desire is not fulfilled according to our expectations, according to our specifications, according to our intentions, anger is born. Okay, we are upset about it. The stronger the desire, the more the anger. It is directly proportional. The amount of anger we have is directly proportional to the intensity of desire. The more I want it, the more it doesn't happen, the more angry I get. Okay? And okay. So until this point, what is happening? It is born, like we are having a thought, we dwelled on it, we have attachment born. From the attachment, desire is born. From the desire, anger is born. That means there is time, right, between conception and birth. There is time involved. Even though we are losing control to some degree, we are still able to think about it and have time to process it and change the direction. But once anger is born, okay, krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Once anger takes place, it's very difficult to control it because we develop this emotion, confusion, and delusion. We lose control over ourselves. Have you experienced when we are angry, it's hard to think. It becomes a reaction mode. We don't go into reflective mode. We are, things happening in a fast pace. It would be very much like a ball rolling down the hill. The lower it goes, the faster it goes. It picks up pace and momentum develops. And then what happens? We do and say things that we don't ordinarily say or do, because we go into, the mouth starts working faster than the mind. We go into a temporary state of madness, right? We are almost like possessed. We get so, upset. They say anger, the difference between anger and danger is only one word. Anger and danger, if you think about it. And we see this when there are heated arguments between, say, spouses, heated arguments between parents and teenagers, especially children. And sometimes it can be one-sided. Somebody gets in the car, wants to go someplace, cannot go, there's a traffic jam, road rage. There's nothing, from the other side, but this person can get very, very upset about things. So, when there is confusion, what happens? There is samohat smruti vibhramaha. When there is delusion, loss of memory takes place. From now on, it's going automatic in a faster pace. Until anger came, things were slower in development. But once anger came, there is confusion. Once there's confusion, there is loss of memory. In this state, it is hard to remember all the wisdom we have collected, all the knowledge we have collected. How do we know right from wrong? Because of so many experiences we have in life, from parents, from teachers, from education, from scriptures. We have so many from experiences. We have this idea about what is right, what is wrong. But when we are mad and we have been confused and we lose this knowledge temporarily, it gets blocked. We cannot access it. Ordinarily, we do not sit there and really think a lot about it. The knowledge comes to us fast. We tap into it. It would be like a doctor making a diagnosis. Doctor is not thinking. Depending on his or her background, they make a diagnosis. You take the car to the mechanic, same thing happens. He can, quickly figure out what's going on. Ordinarily, we do that too. We tap into this information, make decisions. But when we are mad, angry, we get temporarily, that memory is lost. Not only that the memory is lost, we also forget about all the good things the other person might have done. Say you have a friend who is very helpful, you have helped the friend has helped you, but a particular time the friend is not there for you, cannot come and help you like you wanted the friend to come for whatever reason. And you can get mad forgetting about all the good things that the friend has done in the past. Doesn't matter how many times friend came through and has helped you, but this particular time it didn't happen. You can get very, very obsessed and upset about it. So two things can happen. And we also see this with kids and parents. When kids don't get grades this particular time, they might have gotten good grades all along, but this month they didn't get grades. So that can happen. So this is when the memory is temporarily blocked. Smruti Bramshat Buddhi Nashaha. So what happens because of this memory loss, when we are not able to access this wisdom of our past, our experiences, the mind is disabled. Okay, you're with me so far about the consequences, how they are going? So because buddhi depends on the knowledge to make decisions, and it can no longer make wise decisions. And this state of mind is incapable of steering itself in the right direction. Then follows buddhi nashat pranashyati. This can lead to destruction of person, because we could be doing things, very extreme things. You see people getting into such rage, they can go into violent state also. Man is superior in the universe for many reasons over all the other beings, not because he is the strongest, but he has this creative thinking mind with intellect. When he is not able to have that, he is no better than the animal in that state. In the 3rd chapter, Arjuna asks, what makes a man do things he shouldn't be doing? He is doing as if he was forced to do. He were forced to do. He is doing it against his will. Why does man do that? Even though he has this, idea about what's right and wrong, why does he keep doing wrong things? The Lord says, 3:37, 3rd chapter 37. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyena miha vairina. He says, Arjuna, it is the never-ending desire, anger, emotion. Never-ending, voracious, damaging state that is born out of Rajoguna. You remember about the gunas we talked about last time? Rajoguna. So worldly oriented, that the world should go according to my thinking. And he says, know this to be the enemy. This is the foe of the mankind in this world. So throughout the Gita, the Lord discusses about desire and anger again and again, how it is important to deal with these issues, because we face these issues in our lives regularly, and these have ripple effects. So these are so often discussed throughout the Gita. So what do we do? How do we deal with this cascade of things? Okay, let us talk about some practical points. One is about senses. We have senses because we get feedback from the world, right? That's how we know what's going on in the world, by hearing, by touching, feeling, looking. We also have the senses to enjoy life, to have a good meal, to go to a movie, right? To listen to some music. So using them as instruments, using them as a way to enhance life wisely, rather than using them for indulgence, steering us in the wrong way, is the way Krishna recommends. Because he wants us to stay here. He doesn't recommend that we go into some secluded corner so there is no stimulation, there is no sensory input, and we are at peace. No, that's not a life. We have to stay here, and we have to deal with the stimuli that are coming in and be able to deal with that and know what we are getting into. This does not mean that we shouldn't avoid tempting things. For example, I'll give you my own example. Potato chips. My downfall is potato chips. So I don't try to buy them. I don't try to keep them in the house unless I intend to eat them. Because once it's there, as I said, dhyayato vishyan pumsaha, I'm thinking about them, I'm attached, I have desire, I have to eat them, I don't have any control. So I don't buy them unless, as I said, I want to eat them. So we can have some practical points like that. Dwelling on the thoughts, okay? We all think about things, okay? One thought may not be a problem, just like when we're exposed to infection. A few bugs don't do harm to us. There should be enough amount of bugs that we should be exposed to before we get an infection, or our immunity has to be very, very low. Similarly, when we get so many stimuli and thoughts, it's the amount of thoughts or our state of mind. Like I said, even one potato bag chip is enough for me to lose my immunity. I eat them. So same way, we have to look at the amount that's coming in and our state of mind. When we are thinking about thinking, many a times we do not really think about what we are thinking, do we? We're just thinking, it's going on and on. We don't stop and say, what am I really thinking about? Is this what I should be thinking about? This is one area most of us do not get any extensive training. We get so much training in so much education, but we don't really get taught how to really think effectively and think most productively. I'm talking about for the peace of mind. So thought process can be habitual. Before we know, it gets so deep rooted and it takes a life of its own. So we can develop a thought monitor, thinking about what we are thinking about. It's like a guard. Hey, this thought is coming to my head. I don't think this is the best thought that I should have. Because as we were talking about, the more we think, the more attached we are, the more desires that we develop. Now, is it possible to live without desires in life? No, absolutely not. I want to come to the temple. It's a desire. I want to feed my hungry baby. It's a desire. I want to go to school, get a degree. It's a desire. I want to help my friend. It's a desire. Desire is the basis of life. Okay? In the 7th chapter, 11th verse, the Lord says, Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. He says, in the living beings, I am that desire which follows dharma, which is going in the righteous direction, not contrary to virtue. So, it's okay to have desire, but what he is talking about is desire that is insatiable, desire which is unquenchable. Trishna, rajo ragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam, he says in the 14th chapter. It's that unquenchable thirst. I want more, 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 more is what he's talking about, all consuming. So one of the things maybe we can do is, when we have a desire, say we went as far as having a desire, do I need to have this desire? We rarely do that. We feel like buying something. We rarely sit and say, why do I have desire? Do I need one more coat, one more car, whatever is the deal? Can I keep my expectations? Desire by itself doesn't seem to be the problem many times, but it is the expectations that it has to be fulfilled that seems to be the problem. So can we think about, can I keep my expectations practical and realistic? Okay. Can I learn to let go? If it doesn't go according to my desire, can I just say it's okay? Can I learn to do that? And can I not take things so personally? If the friend didn't show up for whatever reason when you wanted her to show up or him to show up, can we not take it so personally? Understand their point of view. Can I tame my ego? I don't have to be the center of attention all the time, or any time for that matter. And the other healthy attitude could be, can I grow from this experience? Can I use this disappointment to see where I am and use it for my spiritual growth? Okay. And let's look at then anger. Anger is the enemy, the Lord says. He talks about this, as I said, many, many, many times. One of the characteristics he describes about demonic characteristic, asura characteristic is krodha. And you can think about when people are violent, how they look demonic. It causes so much bodily harm to the person who is harboring anger. We see this physiologically on blood pressure, on heart rate, all the cortisol levels and all that. Lord Buddha said, you will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. You don't need anybody else to punish you. Okay, such a profound statement. Anger not only destroys the person who has it, but it has ripple effects, as I was saying, on the surroundings, on the family, on the society, on the job. A person who is irritable, impatient, intolerant, angry cannot be as productive as he would like to be. So it has such a deep, innate, effect. Whether it is expressed or suppressed, it's not just enough not to say or do anything about it. Just harboring itself is very, very damaging. Why is it so? Because that doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge evil in the society. There is a difference. We shouldn't say everything is hunky-dory. If something wrong is going on, a child abuse, elder abuse, wastage of resources, whatever is wrong you think is going on, we need to acknowledge it, we need to work on it, but we don't have to become boiling inside, is what the Lord is talking about. Because once anger starts, it's almost the beginning of the end. Okay? It's almost impossible to hold on to a rock that's rolling down the hill. It takes a life of its own. Okay? And it is like punishing. Anger is like punishing ourselves for somebody else's mistakes. We are harming ourselves. I would like to close with a quotation from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was a well-known American, poet, philosopher. He said, for every minute we are angry, we lose 60 seconds of mental peace. I want you to think about that. For every minute we are angry, we lose 60 seconds of mental peace. And that's my presentation.